Animated movies are something we can all appreciate. Most of us grew up watching them, and they hold a special place in our hearts and our childhoods, and can still be appreciated by older audiences. Animated films reach everyone, no doubt. From Pixar to Walt Disney to DreamWorks, there's a magic we find in these studio feature films that's truly something special, and might be some favorites among animation lovers and has some all-time classics. Now, some people want to refer to this company as Studio Ghibli. I believe that's kind of the Western pronunciation of saying it, but the Japanese way of saying it in interviews and in media, they call it Ghibli. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to be calling it Ghibli. If you've never heard of the legendary company, here's a brief rundown. Ghibli is an animation studio in Japan, founded in 1985. Hayao Miyazaki. I don't know if I probably butchered it. I'm just going to call Mr. Miyazaki and his team created these stunning anime that are loved around the world, such as My Neighbor Totoro, Spirited Away, Kiki's Delivery Service, Howl's Moving Castle. The list goes on and on and on for these timeless classics. If you don't recognize the studio name, you probably recognize some of those films, or you've watched one or two yourself. Spirited Away is their most successful movie, selling and is the highest grossing film all time in Japan, earning 30 billion yen, so almost $292 million US dollars in the box office. Unfortunately, our Studio Ghibli hasn't been very active lately. Since their last feature film, When Marnie Was There, which by the way, if you haven't seen, you need to watch it. I cried so hard. It's one of their top films that nobody knows about. So that was in 2015. They've almost gone silent, so it's almost been 10 years since that film was made, and there hasn't been any other film. Fans have been anticipating a new release for 5 years now, and through those years, the question has already been asked, what happened to Studio Ghibli? Answering this question can only be traced to one person, Mr. Miyazaki himself, one of the 3 co-founders of the studio and the man responsible for directing 10 of Ghibli's 22 movies. His works are often seen as the greatest Ghibli has to offer. He was the director of Spirited Away, which should give you some idea of his accomplishment. However, Mr. Miyazaki was retired in 2013, with The Wind Rises being his last film, as well as a direct tribute to his career. After his retirement, Ghibli understandably could not sustain what was once there. They had lost their most valuable member. After The Wind Rises, only 2 more Ghibli films would be released: The Tale of Princess Kaguya and When Marnie Was There. So was this to be the company's end? Thankfully, the answer is no. On January 1st, 2020, Ghibli posted a special message to their website wishing everyone a happy new year and thanking them for their continued support. In addition, the studio officially announced that 2 new features were in the works. Not only that, but Miyazaki would be directing one of them and has come out of retirement. So this is like a very kind of traditional, I guess, Japanese way of always working. The Japanese culture is very centered around overworking, and you can see it in a lot of these Japanese companies. So little is known about these films other than Mr. Miyazaki's being called I'm not even going to try and pronounce the Japanese. So Mr. Miyazaki's is called How Do You Live, with the other film being unnamed. Although How Do You Live was originally planned for a 2020 release in Japan, it was reported to have been completed only a small amount. Even with the pandemic-related struggles of working, it's certain the film will not be completed before the end of 2023. It also has events going around in Japan. This is a widely celebrated company, and they often have Studio Ghibli festivals and these events and themes. So just to give you an idea of how big this company is in Japan, it's like, I want to even compare it to like Disney in America. Like, that's how huge this company is within Japanese culture and society. So in the meantime, many Ghibli artists have been found a new calling with the company Studio Ponak. I hope I pronounced that right. Founded in 2015, and it was originally founded by one of the directors of a Ghibli classic. Currently, only 2 releases have come out of Ponak. Mary and the Witch's Flower, and Modest Heroes, a collection of 4 animated shorts. But the company promises a return of some Ghibli magic that fans crave. So, in the end, Studio Ghibli is still around, whether it's through this new company or through the original Studio Ghibli that should be having 2 feature films coming out within the next year or 2. Although they're not once what they were, they're not what they once were with these animations, I can safely say that I'm excited for these new films, and Studio Ghibli is still around today, just not as active as they once were. So there is hope for a Studio Ghibli revival after all, but in the worst case scenario, even if one of their films never sees light of day again, Ghibli will always be cherished by millions for their high level of craft works they have achieved, and the countless childhoods and adulthoods they filled with wonder, the legacy on their animation. Thank you for stopping by and watching this video. I am Cameron. This is the Cameron Explores channel. I'm trying to be a full-time YouTuber. I'm traveling to Japan next month, and I'll be pumping out content from Japan as well. This is just the beginning of it. So if you like this video, please hit that like button. It'll help it grow, and hit that subscribe button. It really helps me and my channel grow. All right, there's video recommendations here and here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.